Grafikkarte, Grafikkarte, wie fühlt man dich? Grafikkarte.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Hex1E. It has been a while since I last published some content, but I had some health issues, nothing serious, but it kept me from editing my videos. And as luck would have it, once I was well again and wanted to start, I had a small accident with my PC. As you can see, these tubes look kind of wrong, and that's because the liquid running through them got so hot that they started to deform. I don't know what happened. For some unknown reasons, the fan stopped spinning, and since I got lemons, I thought, let's make lemonade. This is our video. The three cooling solutions we are comparing them are, on the one hand, the cooler for the reference model from PNY. I think the name is RTX blah Accelerate Revel, something like that. Then we have the original front plate and passive backplate cooling from EK, and now the newly launched active backplate for that GPU. So yeah, three different cooling solutions. But before we go into the numbers, let's take a look at our test setup.
The tests were performed using an O11 Dynamic XL with closed-off panels and no other expansion cards. We used either two Noctua NF812 bottom intake fans for the stock cooling solution or a triple rad fan setup with a Coolstream 360 SE and three EK Vardar X3M 120mm fans for both of the liquid cooling solutions. All other variables stayed the same, so I won't be going into that. The case fans were run at 100% during testing. We're measuring absolute temperatures for testing. The room has around 23 degrees C with a delta of ±1 degrees.
Then, let's see how these different cooling solutions perform, shall we?
Looking at Heaven first, we get a rather toasty 83 degrees with a stock cooler and an averaged core clock of just 1680 MHz. The water block with a passive backplate improves the temps by 16 degrees to reach 67 at a much higher clock of 1975 MHz. Using the active backplate, we get a further reduction of 10 degrees to 57 and a slight clock bump to 2120 MHz. Looking at the MEM clock does not deliver as much as improvement as I thought it would. Then again, I don't know where the temps are measured, and the measured temps may not show the full picture. Here we get a 10 degree reduction in temps and gain 480 odd MHz coming from the stock cooler to the dual water block setup. Continuing with Furmark, we get a delta of 23 C and 400 MHz between stock and dual water block setup at the core, and 19 degrees and a whopping 1096 MHz clock difference on memory. The last one we're taking a look at is TimeSpy, which shows similar results to what we've already seen. 81C and a lowish 1680 MHz on the stock cooler, 64 and 2080 on the passive backplate, and finally 59 degrees and 2145 MHz with the active backplate. On the memory side, we're looking at 75C and 9380 MHz on the stock cooler and 59C and 9910 MHz with dual water blocks. I looked at some games too. These include Guild Wars 2, Star Wars Squadron, Flight Simulator 2020 and Fortnite. But there's really nothing new there, and I'm gonna spare you the graphs.
I think those numbers speak for themselves. Depending on the test, the active backplate gives us a temperature reduction, temperature reduction of up to 12 degrees C.
I think that if you're using a 3080 instead of a 3090, the temperature reduction provided by the active backplate will be narrower, and the test seemed to support this. The 3090 has memory modules on the back of the PCB as well, and actively cooling these prevents heat from getting dumped into that PCB, which in turn allows for a much cooler card as a whole.
There are some things you should consider though. Besides the pricing, which is more or less a pricing of an active front plate GPU block, you have to consider the space which you will require between the top slot on the motherboard and, for example, your cooling assembly and VRAM and stuff like that. There are some motherboards that have the top slot right next to these other components. So depending on your motherboard, this new water block maybe doesn't fit. I think I have less than a millimeter space between the block and the memory modules. So your lock may vary. Another thing you have to consider is that you're limited in your placement of your inlet and your outlet port. These need to be put like going in a straight line. This is because of the flow pattern through the two water blocks. Conclusion then. This component certainly works, even better than I had expected. And it can definitely look awesome inside your build. I hope you enjoyed this small comparison between cooling solutions. I know maybe some of you might enjoy them. If you liked this video, leave us a like. Wanna see more of us? Subscribe to the channel and don't forget to hit that notification bell. My name is Ralph and I hope to see you next time here at Hex1E.